Am I good? Am I good? Good morning, Radiant. Good morning, Hummingbird Nest. Radiant 132 is what we have on today. Fun fact of the day, 132 is a pretty big number and it has 12 factors. I don't think anybody cares, but I said it anyways. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today on this fine Friday morning, and for us, for me at least, Friday evening for most of our players, probably. We've got a nice bracket today. I think if I counted right, it's 24 players, 25 players we had today. Going to be just breaking over that 24 mark to get the next tier of TWC points because we are a TWC silver in that second tier. I believe we're gonna have a good day today. We got looking at our depth, we got some good players today, so we'll see some good matches. And so I've got a story to tell y'all. So my cat, right? My cat, her name is Maya. Yesterday actually was her birthday, and I believe this makes her 11 years old, but I don't know like for sure. I know my mom knows, but I didn't ask her. Anyways, so my parents are out of town, right? And so I'm kind of like home alone right now. Um, but this cat, you know how cats are kind of, they're like attention seekers and shit. So especially whenever I'm home alone, she will like not get off me. And it's like, especially after like my parents have been gone for a couple days, she'll like not get off me. And so this morning, I like open up my bedroom door and she like runs right in, 'cause she wanted attention because that's how she is. And so. I'm petting her and shit. She sits on me. I'm like, yeah, normal cat stuff. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go commentate. I probably shouldn't swear, but I gotta go commentate. And so I'm like, darn, I'm gonna have to leave the cat. Well, the cat decided that any show of attention after she had been like so desperately seeking for attention for that like few bits, she decided like any amount of attention giving must mean that I hate her, and so she got up and ran away. And so that's how my morning has been so far. But it's been a great morning. We're gonna see. I'm gonna check in on our players here. I think we'll be getting our first match coming up in just a little bit here. Yeah, we do. Okay, suddenly we have an X and a U. Oh, our 16 and 17 is the gap between an X and a U. That's actually kind of funny. A very high X and very low U. It should be a good match. APM about the same between them. There's a big speed gap of about half a piece a second. That'll be an interesting dynamic to have, especially when the player who is rated lower has the speed gap. That's not something you see very often. Um, but I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Is Kelly in chat promising to go 3 pieces a second instead? I like the aspiration. I like the aspiration. We got one of our players in the room. We're waiting for our second one now. Unfortunately, we're like worried that the opponent might be like a little bit lost. I don't know. Hopefully, we get him in soon. But yeah, I really hope we get to see this match because I was like, I'm really excited to see how the speed gap plays out. Um, but yeah, looking at our top players this time, our top four in terms of seed at least. We've got Vexray, Summer J, M8, and we've got Corpy. Those are our top five in seed. I'm excited. I'm excited to see those players kind of fight it out. Top 16 are X ranks. It's It's gonna be a good day. Yeah, typical Hummingbird Nest is starting. We're starting off with our kind of the people that are one apart in that first round. We got our 16, 17 seed. Um, but that all predicates on that 16 seed waking up, apparently. Do I have any other stories to tell? I think I could come up with a story. Um, I don't know. I don't got any good stories right now. I wish I had a story. You know, the story of the day is going to be that we do have both of our players in the room. So we'll be getting started pretty shortly here. It's going to be a good day. I'm excited for this all. Skelly, I just want to say, Skelly and Tetrio chat, in response to Sketchy asking if they wanted to warm up, the response was, yes, my hands are colder than an ice cube. That's rough. I think you might need to get that checked out. Frostbite is like a serious concern and should not be taken lightly. Hopefully one round of Tetrio is enough to warm up. Instead, they were saying internet's unstable. Let's see how this goes. Oh no. Oh no. Well, Skelly might be getting that warm up, and may thinks they're gonna get a warm up, but that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. We'll be trying to make this work, but I'm a little bit worried. Yeah, they're in chat saying that their internet was unstable and lagging a bit. So we're gonna hope that they can get this resolved in time to be able to start a match. But I do really hope we get. I'd be so sad if we don't get to show this match. But we're gonna wait a little bit. We're gonna give them the chance to get back as they deserve. And hopefully shortly we'll be able to have a great match. But yeah, when we get into the top 8 today, there's just so much good talent we've got today that I'm excited to be able to watch. And we are this weekend closing out the second month of Tetria Worlds, which is pretty exciting. This year, I just want to say this year our format's a little different. At the end of April will be the first 16 qualifying. So Hummingbird Nest has been a big part kind of in players getting their minors in. Like if you go to the worlds page and you go to like the rankings, you'll see that like the number one Gohan, who has a sizable gap over Diao, is kind of there in large part not because of their like strong major placements, because they got like a third, a seventh, and seventh in platinum, and then a fifth and a gold to be their major placements right now. But they have a number one placement in two super silvers, a number one placement in two like 32 silvers, and then a number two in a super silver. And three of those tournaments are Hummingbird Nest tournaments, so a lot of kind of the points from that top spot are going to people who have played in the minors. Meanwhile, Diao is at number 2 in world, but doesn't have any minors. So it's like that's the kind of the difference between our number 1 and number 2 there. But we've got both of our players in the lobby, and hopefully we're going to be able to get their match going today. I would love to be able to see a great match between these two. So we're hoping we can see a good match, but if not, that's okay. We're going to see if they want to do another warm-up since it's been a little bit. Since if played, we want to make sure both of our players can be properly warned before the match, before our first to 7. We go in the warm-up. Hopefully we see that piece fall a little bit this time. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. And Skelly realizes it too, based on that. You can see based on that hesitation there, realizes it's going to get some warming up in, but I'm a little worried about how this is going to go. Yeah, it is a shame that we haven't been able to see this warm-up work. Hopefully we are going to get to see a match. Not my decision to make when if we're going to keep trying or not, but hopefully we can, because I would love to see these two players. Yeah, we are going to be, I think, looking for them to TO today. We are, it looks like, going to be moving on to our next match. Let's see if that gives that player some time to try and work on those internet troubles. Yeah, it looks like we probably are invoking that two strikes policy. We give people a chance if their Wi-Fi comes out, but if it breaks again, we'll move them to losers. Hopefully, give them some time to resolve the issue. I think they've got potential in this tournament. Would love to be able to see them get that chance. Because we have 24 players, we're in the silver 16 player 16 plus bracket. Our top 12 from this tournament gets TWC points, so it would be really nice to be able to. I mean, both of these players are not seeded in the top 12, but both of them are like kind of, if they get one more win than their seed would give them, they'll be in points territory. So hopefully we get to see them get a good chance at this. And yeah, meanwhile, since we didn't have a full match, it is going to take a short period of time before we can get our next game up. Hopefully we do get a game soon. I wish I had more stories than just my cat. Anyone have I need a cat story. I need a good cat story. Oh, I'll tell more stories about my cat. So my cat, we got her, I think it was January 2nd, something like that. And I was like, it was a while back. Like I was probably in like 6th grade or whatever. So it was like almost a decade ago. Probably like 9 years ago. And so she was, we're her third owners. I don't know whatever was with the first one, but then she went to like one of my mom's cousins or whatever. No, actually, it was one of my dad's cousins, but that doesn't matter. The problem is she hates other cats. Like, and when I say hates, I mean like actually hates. If you bring another cat close to them, if you bring another cat close to my cat, I think she starts thinking about murder. It's like it's pretty bad. There's kind of a couple houses down. There's um there's a family that has 2 outdoor cats. Um, and so those outdoor cats, they're great. They're perfectly good cats. Unfortunately, my cat hates other cats. My cat's an indoor cat. She doesn't go out. But those cats will sometimes try to visit us. They will sit in our backyard, they will sit on our porch, and they will look inside. and then my cat will see them, and then my cat will get angry, and she will go to the window, and she will meow very angrily at them, and it's not good. And so one day, this was like probably 5 or so years back. We like opened the door, or we like opened the window, but like we have one of those windows that has a screen behind it, right? So like you can open the window, but there's still protection between them. Um, my cat knocked out the window. Like the window got knocked out. There was no more window, which is like kind of messed up. But yeah, and then so like my cat started chasing the other cat. And it was a whole ordeal. We had to like run out and get her. Um, but yeah, we don't even if she was an outdoor cat, like we couldn't let her go outside because she will like I think she would literally kill another cat. But yeah, that's the reason we have her too, is the family that had her before us had another cat that they had before they got not what is now my cat. And those two cats could not live together because they would get into fights all the time and it would be my cat's fault. So yeah, even if we wanted to have a second cat, we couldn't. There was like no possibility. All right, we've got one of the My Little Pony. We got one of the My Little Pony fan clubs. We got Hugh on the left and Chang is their opponent. Interesting seeing. Did we? What happened there? How did that? No, 24 seed one. Okay, I'm not gonna question that too much. That's impressive. How did how did Hugh lose that one? I don't know. But anyways, we've got Hugh on the left, we've got Chang on the right, and we'll be moving into a warm up, maybe perchance. I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of probably good that that happened because if if not, I would have had we would have had a match between Hugh and Hugh, and that would have been really hard to cast. All right, we're skipping warm up. My goats. My goats, I love it when they skip warm up. I am a warm up skipping truther. We're gonna be going right into the match. And we got SDP. We got the classic Tetrio. We got SDPC versus Stick. Cheng finishing that into a perfect clear. Gonna put Hugh on a tough position here, but Hugh's finding the well. That's a tough opening, but gonna be advantaged by Surge and Almany there. Cheng with a tough placement on the top had a good set if they didn't have to kind of move around for that. I'm usually calling Hugh versus Hugh 99 versus 77. That's goated. Both players kind of struggling in there. We got like 7 seconds in before either player sent more than one line of garbage. A little bit of tough. We're looking at our kind of low rank 60 APM versus 40 over there earlier. And now we're back into the swing of things. Hugh's got a lot to stack down. The Cheng's kind of not gotten open well. Found it, but not in time before Hugh was able to start getting a down stack. The Cheng using all spin there had a really good whatever that was going on in the middle, but unfortunately just not enough time. He was able to send enough pressure to get Chang up to the top before it mattered. Chang had a bad placement with that PCO build, which required some soft drop and then some waiting, which takes up a lot of time and gave Hugh an advantage there in the beginning based on being able to get further. And a really cool J spin there. Cheng getting right up to that surge minimum and breaking it, which sent some garbage, but it wasn't enough to escape Hughes' top out. I'm surprised to see that this is going as quickly as it is. Given that Cheng is playing pretty strongly, granted, I wouldn't expect the 24 to hold too hard against the 8, but it's pretty strong gameplay here from Cheng. Got up to surge limit, breaking it right away. I know that was meta for a while, where kind of players would get up to kind of 4 to be able to send their surge and then just send it right away. It doesn't really happen a lot anymore. Q building up a good back-to-back at 8, 9, breaking it at 9, but continuing it into a spike for 23 attack. APP over 1 to finish that off. A very hard match, a very hard position for Cheng to be able to live through. Now 4-0. And that mistake there from Hugh is going to be trouble. To see if Cheng has the pressure to be able to take back from that. Has a lot of pressure. It's not going to be enough to win right away. And is a little bit high. I'm worried because is overcovered that downstack piece. Getting a ZST there is really helpful, kind of to build down. But the problem there was that Cheng was getting up high and was trying to build something, but didn't have access to their well. There was like 8 or so Minos stacked above that hole, and it made it really tough to kind of get back down into a safe position. So when he was able to build up the attack, kind of and send that, Cheng had to cancel or wouldn't be able to continue, and unfortunately there wasn't able to continue. Now Hughes just found a great 21 spike, and this drops too much over on Cheng's side. I would have had a down stack, but has not sent any garbage, and just kind of, after about a 10-second fight up there, had nowhere to go. 6-0. Match point here for Hugh. Can we see this sweet block? We're getting that SDPC versus stick again. They're getting good knowledge of minis from Hugh's side. Up to a 10-11. How much more are they going to send before that goes off? 13, 14, 15, 16. Not even needing to send it off. 172 APM is strong enough in 24 seconds to win the final match 7-0. And Hugh will be moving on into that next round. It's one of those matches where, like, kind of the result of it really didn't feel right, because I do feel like Cheng did have kind of a stronger placement than 7-0 normally implies. But yeah, that puts Hugh up into winner's quarters, 1 match away from top 10, but it'll be a tough one for Hugh. Likely to end up playing Vexaray. But taking a peek at the bracket, the only other person who's in our winner's quarters already, Lucas Dragon beat the 7 seed as the 10 seed and moved on to winner's quarters. A very exciting match. I wish I would have gotten to see that one. Do you have any other cat stories? I could come up with a cat story. Really gotta think about it for a little bit. See, I can't think of any good ones. All I know is that she's gonna kill a cat someday. It's gonna happen. I should like come prepared to these. I should come prepared with like a prompt sheet of stories. But yeah, it was a pretty fast match we had. Not sure if we have any other matches. Let's look at the bracket. Give y'all some bracket updates while we're doing this too. We had Fluxstar beat Hamburger Pie in winners round 2, a 5 seed over the 12. That was a 7-2. Um, and it looks like we're going to be getting, actually, that hamburger pie is coming in for their losers match, it looks like. I think that's what it's going to be happening. Yeah, it is. That's exciting. That's exciting. I'm happy about that. That'll be a good match. 12 and 18 seed. And yeah, Hamburger Pie, looking at that screen here, is our X rank 23.0K. And they got 22.1 on the other side, Lavanda. I'm going to say that right. I almost messed that up. We've got Australia and Mexico here. That's Mexico, right? Am I stupid? I hope I'm not stupid. That'd be really embarrassing if I got that wrong. That's Peru. I got it wrong. It was hard to see on the tiny thing. Darn it. That's embarrassing. Yeah, we got our 12 and our 18 here. Peru and Mexico are not the same thing, I will have you know. I went to Mexico once. It was nice. So I can actually story time about that while we have time. So when my mom actually no, I'm gonna save that story for the next break we get. I'm gonna save the Mexico travel story for the next break we get. But yeah, the gaps are a little bit big here. We got a 35 APM gap, about half a piece a second gap. But looking at ratios here, it does look like Lavanda's VS APM ratio is pretty high. So it looks like they typically do play a more defensive game than most players. So that APM gap might not matter as much as we think it does. We're going to be doing our warm-up here. Lavanda's going to start with the PC, and you can see... Oh, I mean, I guess Hamburger Pie is playing kind of slowly, too. Which is a good idea during a warm-up if you're going to play it. Don't go at your full speed. It's a warm-up for a reason. It's not like a hurt your hands up. Lavanda kind of filtering a little high at the top of the board there. Finds the well. Hamburger Pie's got a nice 4-5. It gets a hell spin there. Up to 4, now able to break Surge. Probably wants to hold on to it a little longer. Doesn't even need to break at a clean 120 APM. But that's just our warm-up, folks. We'll be getting into a real match here in just a moment. And here we go. First to 7. This is a losers round 2 match. Good luck, have fun to both players. This will hopefully be a good one. Let's see, PCO, TKI, not even going for PCO. I feel like that's a kind of meta I've heard about in Season 2, is kind of that PCO build is one that's nice and easy to do. It's got a high success rate on the build. What is that spin? Hamburger Pie has to decide how to downstack that, because unfortunately had just a little bit too much garbage to be able to actually go through with the plan that would give that its full attack. You can see Hamburger Pie is taking really good advantage of the fact that we are in Season 2, the fact that all mini is a thing, and so is really using those all spins to kind of eke out some extra attack on the downstack. And that's kind of a signature of Season 2 gameplay, is kind of, you have a lot more options now to build your back-to-back in a downstack, and so you can send a lot more pressure even when you're trying to recover, whereas before, a lot of times when you're downstacking, you have 2 options for sending attacks, right? You have Tetrises and you have T-spins. And those are hard to do while you're downstacking, especially if you're downstacking cheese. But now, especially with cheese, kind of, you have a lot more options for sending attack on the downstack, and players who have been able to master that, which Hamburger Pie looks like one who has a pretty good control of skill in that area, The people who are able to do that are able to be a lot more successful in this season. Levana's setting a PC to start. Looks like that's a favorite for their gameplay. And by setting up that triple, I never know how to do those. I need to like actually learn the finesse for that because it's like a really cool kick. And a really strong pressure there was like kind of eyeing at a PC too, which is kind of cool. Now we're going 2-0 into this third round. We've yet to see kind of that really strong defense from Lavanda that their stats show that they're able to do. It'll be interesting to see if we get to see that later. Then we have triple there. Triples are bad, kind of. They're not like terrible, but they lose efficiency. And now there's a big surge gap there, 9 in growing, but it's going to be hard to, yeah. Hamburger Pie had a board where it was hard to continue that. It's a good decision there on just dropping the surge and being able to move into the next round. Now, kind of got not a lot going on. You can see right there, Levada's having trouble sending a lot of pressure. Hamburger Pie's still got like kind of what we expected based on the stats. Got him gapped by about 25 attack per minute, which that's kind of hard to recover from. But that's going to be the first point on Levanda's side. 2-1, just one away from a tied game. And we're seeing SDPC. In for the C-spin. Levana got a nice well right in the center. That'll be able to be pretty strong pressure, but Hamburger Pie fighting back. Both players building up a surge. Levana sends it. Hamburger Pie needs to break to defend from it. Hamburger Pie's got still that really nice 4-5 stacking going on. Levana finds the well, needs to transition over to the side, gets it, and now gets back open to that center. And having that center is going to be really nice. It's got Hamburger Pie up high, but Levana doesn't have any real pressure to send, which means can't take advantage of the fact that this was a really good position for them. This takes a little extra second to figure out how to get that down stack while also opening up the next well. Ends up finding it, which is really good, and now sends in for 9 and 6. Breaks back-to-back right there to be able to kind of do some more defensive playstyle, which kind of matches with their normal playstyle. Up top, not a lot to work on there. If you had one piece earlier, would have had the long bar to go in, get the quad, and build back out. But unfortunately, it is not going to be enough, sending it into a 3-1 game. And I missed what opener Mulan is doing, but whenever you see a float in an opener, you know it's good. Now 4-5 on surge, very even. This is the kind of level of surge where you're going to have to be able to break. Hamburger Pie is kind of getting into some trouble there. Was like too high, had to break it to be able to continue. Had a down stack, had a little bit more room, but that's kind of what the story's been a lot of these matches, is the down stack existed if you were just a couple pieces ahead in your cube, or a couple lines further down. And a good PC from Hamburger Pie, not letting up. 4.2 pieces a second going into that second PC. Just not letting up pressure. Even with the fact that in Season 2 PCs are nerfed, that pressure was just a lot too much, bringing it to a 4-2 game. And you could tell that that was a position Hamburger Pie likes to be in, because you could just see that their speed was so much higher than it normally is in that position. You can always tell what a person's favorite opener is based on the fact that they are going to be doing it so goddarn fast. And a quick 25-second round is going to bring it to 5-2. And we're by 2 points away, and we're going to be seeing going for that SDPC. And finishes off with a quad PC. Going on the DPC, gets the first thing, holds back-to-back through the whole thing, Now, instead of going for the PC, elects to keep back-to-back and pressuring that up at 10 already. 11 has a good well there. Building up at 13, 14, 15. It's starting to get really high. We're going to figure out, are they going to break that soon? 17. And now it's at 20. A whole board of back-to-back difference. And you can hear at 20 that sound changes. Deciding to break it there. Good decision. Could have kept it going. Literally had the spin, but unspun out of it to be able to break and send that pressure. It wasn't enough to kill, but it was enough to stay alive, and that's what mattered. A very good play, though, from Lavanda to be able to force Hamburger Pie to break back-to-back there. Because when your opponent has so much of a gap over you in back-to-back, it's going to be scary when it's used on an attack. And so you need to force them to use it on a defense instead, and that's what happened. Unfortunately, not enough to come through and win the whole round. So we're going to be at a 6-2 match point here for Hamburger Pie. And Hamburger Pie's all-spin prowess is showing very well through this match. Having some tough decisions, waiting a long time. Is that going to be enough to matter? Oh, just barely finds the down stack. Couple more lines and it would have been over. Is looking for that continuation. Yeah, finds it there. And I was able to send a surge. Wants something more though. Wants a TSD out of it. And continues to find it all mini. You can see Hamburger Pie digging for more minis there. And it's going to be at a pretty high back-to-back 10-11 surge. Sends the 11. And that might be too much. There was a solve that was like 2 pieces too far back to have like it's been a lot of points this time, and 7-2 is going to be an advance from Hamburger Pie. And that puts Hamburger Pie into losers round 3. Fortunately, that is the end of the tournament from Lavanda, but Hamburger Pie outplaying the seed there and is going to be moving on. Hamburger Pie just needs one more win to be able to earn TWC points. And taking a look on the upper half of the bracket, we do have our first player into the top 8. We've got Summer J took a win over Louis Dragon, the 2 seed over the 10, and a 7-4 match, and is now into that top 8 slot. All right, is this story time? It's story time. Okay. So, the Mexico story. Okay, so, when my mom was like... Alright, so my mom has like a ton of cousins, right? My grandma on that side, I think, was youngest of 9, like, youngest of 7, and my grandpa was like second youngest of 11 or whatever. But my grandma's sister had no kids. But when my mom was young, she had an exchange student from Mexico. But since she didn't have any kids, ended up hanging out a lot with like my mom and her family. Anyways, so that's like probably 20-something years ago now. And then probably about they've been trying to kind of get us to come down and visit a long time. They still stay in contact and stuff. And they've been trying to kind of get us to come visit them for a while. And so we finally did. I was in 10th grade, and so I was like a year and a half into... No, it was summer between my 9th and 10th grade. So I was like... I had taken Spanish for a year at that point, enough to kind of have a vague idea what was going on, but like I couldn't speak with people who were talking at like the speeds that local people talked at. And so we stayed for like 9 days. We spent the first half at a timeshare that they had, and then we kind of went to their house, which was like huge. But we kind of went around. We visited a bunch of different cities in that second half. It was a really cool trip. I had like there was a punchline, and I don't know what it was. But I'll just keep telling about my trip because it was cool. No, the best part though is here's my recommendation to anyone who's traveling internationally is, if at all possible, you gotta find like someone you know that lives in that area, because We went to the most we went to the most holiest of wall places. There was like no holes. There was no wall. It was just all hole in the wall places. We got like the food was great because you get if you get somebody who can take you to kind of where the locals actually eat instead of the kind of places where tourists would go, you'll get like some crazy stuff. We went to this one place that was like I don't even remember what the food was, but it was like just you wouldn't even have expected it to be a restaurant because it looked like it was nothing. But you went in, you just like got your food, and it was yummy. That's how restaurants normally work. I'm doing a really bad job at telling this story. Um, but yeah, I've been to Mexico. It's really cool. It was a fun time. All right, I think we're just waiting on our next match here. We'll see if we've got that coming. I'm just like I'm gonna like scan kind of around, see. We can do more bracket updates. We'll do more bracket updates while we wait. All right. Winners quarterfinals. Yeah, our Vexaray took Hugh in a 7-4 match, and so Vexaray is now into winners semifinals. Their opponent will be Fluxstar, who beat Corpy 2-7 in a 5 versus 4 seed match. Summer J has already made it into the top. And then we got our last match going right now. All right, I'm looking kind of at kind of our secret communications channel. Looks like we're going to try and do one more match from losers bracket before we move into the top 8. We got one more losers match before we'll be seeing those top 8 players. Yeah, let's see kind of I don't know if we pulled that match yet. I don't think we have. Kind of a few games going on. Let's look at them. We've got Missouri and Hughes playing. We got Miss G Fluid Stock Gamma's playing. That's Hamburger High Ting is our 12-13 and they're playing. That's good. And I think we're just about waiting for kind of one of those matches to clear up so we can get a new match. Oh, when it happened, it happened. Let's go. We're getting our match. Getting Skelly and Mihi. Skelly may have avoided stream earlier, but it's not going to happen again. It is not going to happen again. We got our 17 and 19 seed, and they're going to be fighting for TWC points. And this is just going to be a loser's top 16 match. The winner of it is going to be in top 12, and top 12 is where points start. Yeah, I'm super excited to see the match between them. Hopefully, I think it'll be a good one. Me saying in Twitch chat that they think they're screwed. I don't think so. I think you got this. I think both players got this. It's hard to imagine that this match is decisive either way. All right, both of our players are in the room. We'll see. Are they going to be doing their warm up? Now here we got a stat stream. We've got two U ranks fighting for TWC points, and if you look at them, they're pretty darn close. That's a 3 APM difference, less than a tenth apiece a second. It is so hard to imagine that this would be tough. And so our players, they're going to be getting into a warm up any second now. And so this will be a sneak peek for the match, but I'm not going to get the sneak peek because I'm going to go use the restroom really quick. So you all entertain yourself with this warm up. All right, hopefully that was an entertaining warm up. It looks rare. It looks. I'm looking at the stat screen from it. It looked pretty darn one-sided, but I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to determine kind of how the match goes because like I don't know, these players are too close to each other in skill for it to be a decisive match. We'll see, but I'm expecting a very good match here. And here we go. Players are into their match now. Early O piece. Let's see if anybody does the... Yeah, we're seeing it. We're seeing two SDPCs, and they're just moving in SDPC spin, the classic, and they're just moving with it. Skelly's got a misdrop there, though. And it's just tough to make anything out of it. Mihi's gonna take the first point. One piece placed in the wrong spot, and really there was no ability to recover. Especially when you're in an opener that has that strong of potential, and we're seeing them mirror SDPC spin again, except there's a little bit of a mistake from Skelly's side. Did I just watch the same round twice? I don't, because there was a different misdrop there, but it's now 0-2. Skelly pointing out in-game chat that nerves are a factor here. I mean, he's going on again on that spin, but there's just so much clean in that 6th well. Oh, it's so much. No. I mean, he's on the down. On the bottom. It's not going to be enough to kill because he had the down stack. Both players eyeing on getting that back-to-back started. Neither player are actually doing it, though. Both are a little too high to be willing to commit, which is probably the good choice there. Skelly seeing the danger a little bit. Mihi's way at the bottom. Covered up the well on Skelly's side. Needs to find the down. There's the down. 2 quads. Sending 20. And now it's a reversal play. I think Mihi wanted that back-to-back or wanted some attack on the top there. Greeting out a little bit. And unfortunately, that was just not the right way to go down. Even himself saying in chat, was such a bad attempt at a down stack. Skelly taking a while to decide how they want to do that. It's a tough part about Surge is that kind of Surge doesn't matter unless you have a strong Like, unless you make it to 4, it doesn't matter that you've had back-to-back the whole time. So kind of, when you have it, players are spending a bit more time trying to keep it. Lowell, thank you for the raid. We appreciate it a ton. Hope your stream went well, and hope you'll be able to enjoy Radiant with us today. Interesting placement there from Skelly. Finds a good down stack. He's got a bunch of wall swaps to have to do to get to the bottom there. He's got a nice well on column 10. Finds it! It's a strong attack, but Skelly's got a nice 4-5. Very deep hole to be able to just put some down through. And now, both of them kind of in a neutral spot. We've got a very good 9-0 well again for Mihi there. This gives some advantage on the down stack. Take a down stack there. Skelly's on the ropes up top. Uses the T to build there, so doesn't have it for the TSD there. Finds one on the way down, though. And now has the well open. 12 attack there. Mihi's trying to figure out how to get a down stack and conserve that. There probably was something there, but regardless, unable to find it. And so now it's tied at 2. 5 points each are needed to continue. And we're seeing that all Class X DCC spin mirrored from each player. But Skelly finds the well, and Mihi doesn't. Skelly has a great idea to plunk there, let the garbage come, which not even to use as a counter spike, but so that the full weight of Skelly's attack there would end up getting sent. That was what was important there, because Mihi had no ability to downstack from that position. Mihi tried that again. Unfortunately for them, Skelly's not in that same position where there was no downstack available. A really good multiplier spike there, sending 20, and there's so much cheese that Mihi will have to get through to get to that well. There's like 5 layers or so. Got it down to 4, but the well's covered, and there's nothing there. There might be something there. There could have been something there, but it took a couple too many spins trying to get it over, and it ended up locking out at the top there. Both players now commenting on their nerves for this match while we're at this 4-2 point. Skelly finding an interesting TST that they didn't end up going for. And it's going to be a 4-3 game, folks. We're halfway through. And what do we see here? We're seeing a mirrored TKI. I thought. Mihi finding that center well to get down. And I mean, he's building up that surge. Probably a hard chance to keep it, though. Yeah, it only has a triple there. Had an eye in hand, but also eye in the hold. So didn't really have a good way to downstack that. Had to use it. There's always that chance that the piece you don't want to play right now is also the one that you have in your hold. And when that happens, you have to use it, and sometimes that means breaking back-to-back. Up too high, and we're at a 5-3 game. Obviously, any chance that this was going to be a decisive victory one way or the other are out the window. We see that these two players are quite evenly matched. An unfortunate misdrop for Mihi, and spends a lot of time thinking about how they're going to recover for it. Time they do not have, because Skelly's going to be bringing on to match point 6-3. LJ early, what are we going to see? We're going to see, as we've been seeing so many times, but Skelly not having the spin fully there, and Mihi's going into PCs, unfortunately gets a couple lines of garbage, so not able to continue. But now both players are neutral, way at the bottom of their boards. The TSS for Mihi fortunately clears that with a triple, which on what looked to be a fractal setup. Decided not to try to go for any of those T-spins on the way down. Good decision there. Would have been an extra cap to the attack, but it was one that really wasn't needed. Brings out a TSS at the top there, though. And a nice 4 combo into the quad. Both players pretty high up, but have clean wells to get through. Unfortunately, one piece too far back is going to be what ends the game there. And Skelly's going to win a 7-3 match, and Skelly's going to be moving on into that top 12 match, going to play Lucius Dragon in the top 8 qualifier. But regardless of what happens in that match, Skelly's going to be earning TWC points, working towards their chance to qualify for the World Championships. And it looks like it is time, folks. We're moving into our top 8 matches. We got 10 matches left for the day, but there'll be 10 great matches. We'll be starting kind of on, I believe, which side are we going to start on? We're going to be starting on our winner's side. We're going to be in that first match, Akma versus Fluxstar. Or no, wait, what? Yeah, Akma versus Fluxstar is going to be that first match. The 2x plus matches, and we're getting right into that warm-up. And now we see the speeds increase. We're seeing 4.5 versus 4 there. You talk about a half a piece a second difference. That means a whole lot different when it's at this fast of a speed. And I don't even know what to say, dude. This is going to be... I hope you're all ready for just the increase that we're going to be looking at here. And both of our players ready and eager to get into the match. Our first to 11 here. And here we go. TKI versus PC build there to start. We're going to be looking at the center well on the left, on that right side. Holden looking at building up that back-to-back, but unfortunately has a 1-8 stacking. And 1-8 is not sustainable. Has a misdrop on that or just something else happen. And Aqua's going to be building back-to-back at 15, 16, 17, 18. I can't even count that fast as it's building. Sends off a 21. Cove's going to be able to block it, though. A good send there because didn't have a lot to be able to continue it with. A couple of misdrops, though, from Aqua is going to be a very tough position. And there's so much cheese for Aqua to have to work through now. It's going to be a fight to get down there. Meanwhile, Co's going to be able to have a good chance to send some power, send some attack, and get back. Starts on a surge, 5-6, sends 6. By the time they got that send, though, Aqua was way too high on the board and wasn't going to be able to start knocking them down. Now Aqua's up high, and Co's going to be building back-to-back on 6, 7, 8, sends 8. And that surge always gets sent in 3 damage chunks, so it is a little bit cheesy. It's not clean. I don't even see what happened there. It looked like just a couple pretty roughly timed misdrops there, which gave Aqua the point from being able to pressure. But if that first point is any indication of what we're going to be seeing today, you'll be happy, because this will be a great match between two very close players. Granted, Aqua is our number 1 seed playing against the 5, but it's anybody's game. We've got 10 points to go from each player. And what are we going to be seeing? We're going to see that mirrored SDPC again. Co's going to have to overstack on the side, though, because of the misdrop. The kind of misdrops that happen when you're going that fast. And Aqua already gets up to an 8 surge. After doing the opener, after sending off, built an 8 surge with 180 APM. We see that early O. When we see that early O, we know it's going to be happening. It's going to be getting built up. The surge already gets sent off at 5 for Aqua there. She's coming back, though. And Akba is not afraid to go for some damage while at the top there. Knows exactly what they're capable of. And you see that pressure getting sent right back. Finds the open well, but not fast enough to escape, and it's going to be tied back at 2. Now here we go, 2-2 going into the 5th game. Good float there from Akba's side. Both players looking to build that surge. That's always interesting when you see that it's a cat and mouse game. One of them has to decide when to attack. One sends off, they both send off, and it looks like they've kind of washed each other's attacks out. So that means it's going to be a race to build that right back up to be able to have the upper hand. You want that surge lead so that your opponent has to kind of follow what you want. And now here we go, Akba's building it up now at 7. Has 8 and 9. And now it's double digits. It's not too scary yet. And there's a few holes there, means you might have to break out of it earlier than you want, but Akba's not letting up. At 19, 20, sends off 20. And I think it would have been enough if not for that misdrop. It would have been a really tough down stack, but that misdrop seals the fate at 3-2. Now here we go, we're seeing TKI versus Stick. We got Stick Spin, our Tetrio classic coming in here. Marco setting out a 7 out of 5 surge. Setting up a fractal, has to do a soft drop tuck. Build up a bit of power stack, sends out a 4 surge, able to get right to the number before needing to break. Unfortunately, that's a lot of pressure. Too much to be able to recover from. 4-2. Now we're getting into round number 7 there. All right, and we're looking at a bit of a gap here. 17 surge is going to come out. And now Akma, instead of focusing on downstack, well, does end up going and focusing on downstack, but was hungry for their next one. So sending out a 5, it feels like Akma took nothing of that. Sends a 6 back. And now we're at a more neutral. I thought we were at a more neutral spot. It looked more neutral. But Akma taking the point right as I said that. 5-2. And Akma wants to kind of secure a nice lead here. And it's going to be brought to 5-3. A quick 10-second match. That's how a lot of these go. When you have the kind of pressure you can send. If your opponent gets sent off their game, just needs one bad step, and then it's enough to be able to attack. Good power stack going, good float. Insane knowledge of all spins there. That showing. Has to break it because it has a little bit of a weird stack. We're going to be setting up an ST or a TSD. Or, no, it's not a TSD. Setting up a whatever that was, but unfortunately, it was either misdrops or just kind of greeting a little bit too much, overcommitting is going to be enough to kind of put them on the back foot. 6-3. Akma's got a nice float there. Good now, Domini sends off a 7. Now Nkosa 1 with the lead, but Akma's over here pulling it back. You can see it was giving that warning it gives you when you're at like a deficit of 8. It starts like giving you a warning. But you can see Akma was building so fast that the warning actually went away. I ended up bringing it back to like a 6 deficit before Cove had to send it off. And now here we are, 7-3. Aqua's on the home stretch. Got 4 points to go. And now here's the gap. 10 difference. 11-12. 13 doesn't even need to send it off. 257 APM in that 14-second round. No early O. We aren't going to be seeing that typical stick we've seen a couple times this match. You can see from that pause there, Aqua is not happy with that situation. Going to be building up, but on Cove's side, just as much self-made cheese gives Aqua the chance to pressure on top of that. 2 points left on this side of the winner's match. You see the TKI. Cove building up to surge, has surge, both of them have it. Aqua on a little bit of a weird setup there, but finds an out. And is just hungry for more there. 12 surge is what gets sent. And is right back to opening up that well. Sends a Tetris, sends a T-spin. Match point now for Aqua. And here it comes. Early O, it was a bit of a late early O, but you see Cove going through their stick spin. Not enough to get a kill out. It never is at this stage. Had a PC, but didn't go for it. Might have been the right decision, though. Has a deficit and has an advantage in that. Fight the down stack! That looked like it was so strong, and that looked like it was killing, but Aqua's down stack was right there. Any less of a perfect defense there would have spelt the game. And now the surge deficit is on the other side. Aqua wants to plonk there. Send out a 13 surge, down stack into a 33 spike. And amazingly enough, Cove finds the down stack. And Aqua's on the back foot now. With that misdrop, has to find a way to defend it. Barely gets down. Oh my god, dude. How? What, are these players real? We're back into a neutral at a minute 14. I don't think these players are real. Oh, and that's a lot of pressure from Aquas. And Cove looked like we saw none of it. But that's a misdrop, and that's a fatal one to end the game off, unfortunately. 11-3. With a stunning last point. I don't even, like, a stunning last point. It was an absolutely incredible point. And now, after all of that excitement, after everything that was, we're gonna be moving into our next match. Is this? Are these both ponies? Are these both ponies? Only one is a pony, I'm getting told. Red Monster is Summer J. And who's my other person? Nightmare Moon is M85. And Nightmare Moon is a pony. Red Monster is not a pony, but Red Monster's a monster. And Red Monster used to be a pony. Red Monster's a traitor? That's mean. I wouldn't call it traitor. I would just call it expressing yourself in a different way. But yeah, Summer J and M85, these are our 2 and 3 seeds. It's going to be a good match to have. And we've got both players in the lobby now. And our players, they're gonna be goats for us, and they're gonna both skip the warm up. You'll love to see it. Here we go, getting right into that first to 11 set. We've got Summer J on the left, M85 on the right. And here we go. Opening into extended. And started down stack from the Summer J's side. The good surge gap there. I know this match is a little bit slower than our last match, which is exciting because I don't have to like talk as fast. A crazy combo down stack there from M85's side. Gonna bring it to a 0-1 with a 22 spike to round out the first point. Here we go. We got that early O. Both are going SGPC. And seeing how it went last time, are they both going extended? They're both not going extended, but one of them's going extended. And with a brilliant J-spin there, holds back-to-back, holds surge, sending out a 9 surge. And it's going to be hard to top. Yeah, no recovery there from Summer J's side. 0-2. And here we are into game 3 there. We're seeing no stopping that extended there from M85's side. And is hungry to keep that surge alive. Cancel it at 9, just like last time. Not intentional, I'd assume, just kind of based on where they had to cancel it for it to make sense. That's really cool, Dono, there, to be able to get a J-spin out. That's brilliant. I love that. It was so high. I think I'm seeing a pattern here on the right side of just greeting a little bit too hard for back-to-back, kind of not downstacking, and getting caught a little bit too high. Unfortunately, that's a kind of thing with Surge, is that it's not just a free attack. You have to be able to send it. And so if you're caught up too high, and you've got impending garbage, but you don't have a single to be able to clear, you can't send your surge out. But now, maybe this greed's working because Summer J on the top is 15 spike, garbage to cover the board, and you don't quite get that red arrow, but it's enough to top out, and it's enough to top out by a lot. And we're going into point number 5 here. And there's already a misdrop in the second piece there on Summer J's side. And now, M85 wants to plonk a little bit. The kind of unfortunate thing with wanting to plonk there was the fact that Summer J had no garbage to send. Their board was, like, in a pretty bad spot. And unfortunately, kind of in the decision to plonk, M85 didn't realize that they were not going to be getting a lot of garbage. They were not going to be getting any clean, especially. And so that plonking didn't afford them an extra downstack, or an extra attack. But now starting to build up this surge, add an 8 advantage, but makes what I think was a bad decision going down there. Unfortunately, I guess, for that right board, Summer J had a lot of self-made cheese, did not have access to their well, and takes the disadvantage there. Now we're seeing 2 SDPCs again, and we're seeing another extended. And that extended build a lot to surge, and that extended is too much pressure. Summer J needs to find a way to counter that, because the way this is going, they're giving up so many points just out of that kind of initial block. Summer J is our better seed here, but is falling to that same trick. It's falling to that kind of SDPC extended pressure, which is a ton of pressure. Finds the win there, but is at a pretty far deficit. 3 points is not the end of the world, but it's gonna be something that's hard to make up for, especially if you let it go a little bit further. But we're PC looping. Is gonna send. Is that gonna be enough pressure? Finds another PC. I mean, if building up that crazy back-to-back, sends out a 9 surge. Summer Day finds the down stack, though, and finds the big well. Now is ready to start working down. I mean, if I wants to plonk, wants to just keep doing those all spins. Now both players are at a high surge. When one sends, the other probably is going to have to. There's the one out. Doesn't necessarily have to. I think actually probably did, but like was able to get pretty far down without it. But neither player has a ton of garbage to have to work through here, which is a good advantage for them. I mean, Five spending a little bit of time thinking about how they want to solve that. Again, that's agreed on the back-to-back that I don't know. I won't say whether or not it's a good decision, but I will say that it scares me. It scares me a lot seeing kind of that. It scares me a lot seeing that level of greed. But now, right at the top of the board, it's going to be getting closer to even 3 to 5 now. And now Summer Day's in a bit of a better position. Has to be feeling a little bit better about this than when it was a bit further apart. I mean, E5 shows they basically only want to go for that extended there. Which I respect the play. You gotta, it's a good decision is to take an opener, master it, know it to the fullest ability, and then you can execute it at the top level. But it kind of is a ticking time bomb because if Summer J is able to find the right way to counter it, if Summer J is able to find kind of the right counterplay to it, it'll cost M85 a lot of the points that he's counting on. Now there's a 13 surge deficit there, but again, kind of what I was talking about earlier was that if your opponent has a surge, you have to force them to break it. You have to force them to break it in a defensive position. Once you overwhelm them, and even if they have a 20 surge, you overwhelm them, they might use half of that on defense. And good playing from Summer Day is going to bring them back into contention here, a 4 to 5, just a 1-point deficit, as we move into the 10th point of the game. And now it's just... I've been loving the back-to-back build that I've been seeing at this game. Kind of both players are doing a pretty good job at it, but they're also greeding a little bit, which kind of is scaring me a little bit. I don't know. But it's interesting to see, and it's also interesting to see that when they're breaking their back-to-back, a lot of time their opponents, it's because their opponents have forced them to, and so they don't feel all of the pressure for it. And both players at about an equal surge there. Red Monster sends it. Both of them taking a bit of cheese from it, from their opponent's surges. Now, cheese in this game, now that we have surge, cheese, and now that we have all many, cheese is less bad as it used to be, because cheese has more opportunities for spins than it used to have. Maybe 5 going to be breaking at 9 there. Maybe 9 is just when they break a lot. You see a lot of their surges making it to 9, but not getting past 9. Now here we go, 10 deficit. There's no way to continue that. They're going to send out 10 and capping it off with a strong attack. I mean, going to be having a tough match there. And finding an STSD, finding an STSD that high up is like, wow. It's just wow. I'm wow. Finding it must have an eye out for STSDs, because finding another one there had to cancel out of it, because there's too much pressure coming in to be able to safely take it. And now it brings it the other way around. After being at a pretty strong deficit there, wasn't 1 to 5 at one point, it was something like that. But brings it around, and now Summer J has taken the lead. Red Monster finding the 4, breaking it at 4. That's a good decision. Wanted to get to that extra garbage. Wanted to get to that extra attack. Basically, like, if you get to 4, it's a free TSD. But I knew that they had too much coming in to be able to kind of resolve any higher. And breaks it in favor of downstacking, which is the right move there. The Red Monster finds a good downstack, 19, like, and opening up the well. They found their footing, and now it's starting to seem really hard for me to be able to counter that. Unfortunate misdrop on the DT, or on the, oh my god, I'm getting my stuff mixed up. On the SDPC, and it's going to be, wait, how did they win? What? Huh? They shouldn't have won that. I'm just like, Summer must have messed up even more. We're gonna get a center forward. Yeah, stack too close to the sun, unfortunately. Unfortunately, the sun is hot. And now we're seeing a surge dip there. 13, make it 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I can't count this high. Breaks it off at 21. A lot of it got used on defense, but you can see there was 3 good surge chunks there. Despite all that, though, Summer Day was ready. Summer Day was ready on a counterattack, and now it's an 8-6 game. Summer Day needs 3 points left only. Unfortunately, on the other side, I mean, 5 needs 5. Breaking off a 7. Again, you can see kind of right in that play, that greed for surge, you covered your own well with it a little bit, and it made it a little bit tough to continue. Now it's 9-6. Unfortunately, I can't say nice. Actually, yeah, I can. Nice. Bringing it open, both players kind of at the bottom. We're starting to see a surge build up at 9, 10, 11. You can see just the greed is there. It's so greedy. When it works, it's powerful. But when it doesn't, it's deadly on the other side. But there's 19, and we're going to be seeing 20. 21, the gap is in a full board. You start to hear the different sound effects come through the game at a 20 gap. There's 27, 28. The gap's 23. Summer Day's looking to bring it back, but that gap's at 30 now. 31! Wants to plunk a little bit. Breaks at 31, and that's over a board of garbage. Almost defends it all. That's messed up. But now, unfortunately, despite Hummingbird winning that point, needs 4 wins while Summer Day only needs 2. Needs to win double the points here. Goes for extended, is so high up on that board, barely gets the down. But has an incredible center well there to be able to start sending back pressure. Is it too much? Oh my god, what a brilliant down stack. I thought there was no way. Gets a fractal into a 4th combo quad. And it's amazing to me that despite both of those really strong attacks, neither player is topped out. And in fact, either player are just at their bottom 5 rows. It's insane. It's insane the kind of counterplay we have in this match. Neither player feels to be in any danger. Kind of jostling for position here. Both of them are starting to build up the back-to-back, starting to threaten something dangerous. The gap's approaching double digits. There's the 10. Sends it off at 10. I have some self-made cheese to get through before you can get back opening the attack. It's going to be the gap that Summer Day needs, because their position is quite bad. But now, both players have kind of moved into a more neutral spot. We're getting into the end of the second minute here of this match. You don't see a lot of you don't see a lot of top level Tetris last this long. And I think we're starting to get ready to see both of our players make their next move towards a good surge. Summer Days at 6, breaks off at 6. 75 is not going to be so nice there. Breaks off at 7, actually. Gets really high, but we're deep into that third minute. But it's going to be over there. Match point now. Oh, on the right, we need 4 more. We'll see how we move into here. What is that speed? Excuse me. Sorry. No, you can't go that fast. I'm pulling on my sirens, lights and sirens. Wee woo, wee woo. You know how fast you were going? 5 pieces a second on that last round is going to be what Summer Day needs. Just thought they were playing sprint there. Closed it out 11-7. That's going to put Summer Day and Akma into our winner's side. But before we go there, we must take our visit to loser's side. We'll have 4 matches on the loser's side before we get into that match. So you'll want to stay tuned. You'll want to be ready because that match will be one to see. But before then, we're going to be playing our first loser's top 8 match. We're going to have Limit and Big Macintosh. I was going to say, I'm not familiar with Big Macintosh. I did not expect that to be a pony. Lucas Dragon is the one who won that match we were talking about earlier and has won their spot into the top 8. And so we've got a pony. We've got a pony in our top 8. And we're going to be getting into a warm-up here. And here's that warm-up. They're going to play. They're going to play. What am I looking at? What is that? What? No, that's not legal. What was that? That's so cool. I'm kind of speechless because of how cool that was. There's our warm-up. Players got a bit of a long warm-up. Usually, a lot of times our warm-up are so gosh darn quick that they don't get the chance to kind of properly warm up. I like when I see kind of that 30-second warm-up. Because that means players can get their chance to kind of work in. But here we go. We've set our room. We're at first to 11. We've got Lucas Dragon on the left, Limit on the right. TD on the Limit side, STSD from Lucas Dragon. What is this? What is this? Excuse me. What? No, that's not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed. It's not allowed. I feel like we're in for a treat. We're in for a treat. Yeah, I came into this. I'm not big familiar on kind of Lucas Dragon's game, but I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it. I like that STSD. That's a pretty STSD. Limit's looking to build up a surge there at 8-9. greeting for 10, doesn't have 11, because not a full... Having an unfilled TSD is going to kill a lot of surges, because then you have to go and fill it. And usually you can't fill that with a surge. Well, crazy J-spin there, I just want to say. I'm shaping up to be a Lucas Dragon fan here. This first match lasting a while. We're coming in at minute-and-a-half mark. The limit's running out of options here at the top. One piece too far back. I was next in queue that I would have gotten you down, but you can't get back down when you're at the top. You're going into round 2. I love the floats. I love the floats. Limit going with some PCs. Unfilled. Yeah, okay. Dude, that's so cool. That's a cool opener. I need to learn that. I'm going to do a float stack up there. Limit, on the other hand, got some nice surge working. Taking a full advantage. A little bit high on the top there, though. I'm a little bit nervous because that down stack has a lot of cheese in it. Meanwhile, Lucas Dragon sends out a nice multiplier. And now is hungry for a back-to-back. And it's the kind of thing is when you're doing back-to-backs, you gotta be careful because back-to-back, a lot of time, if you're going to be prioritizing minis, if you're building Surge, and you might be doing a little bit less on quads and T-spins than you're used to, it does give your opponent a chance to make up. Are we seeing... What is this? Okay, that was fairly normal. I was just getting worried. I was getting worried, because I'm getting worried because what we've already seen from Lucas Dragon here on the left. We could have had some pretty cool... I was worried that we were having some, like, crazy stuff that I was, like, not even going to be emotionally ready for. Limit, on the other hand, has got some trouble. And a misdrop trying to get down with a spin is going to seal the fate, and we're at 2-1. And now here we go. Lucas Dragon struggling a little bit with that spin. Limit's going to be ready, though. Has a 5 high. 5's great. 5's the perfect number because it gets you that TSD and it gets you the quad. And now with both players building up a surge, 11 to 14s, we aren't seeing that high surge number because there's no gap. And the surge break on Lucas' side forces Limit to break their surge, and that's what you had to do, because breaking your surge there without forcing your opponent to also break their surge would have been pretty deadly. And there we go, Limit tying it up at 2s. We're playing a 1st to 9 now. And now here we go, Limit wants to plonk a quad to start. And does just that. Has a good opening. Hold out for some more garbage received. 4, 5, 6. And is ready for that surge. 9 surge. Doesn't even need to send it. Doesn't need to send it. The garbage was too much regardless. And that's I hope that was a mistake and not some, like, crazy strat. I think that was a mistake. I was worried that that was, like, some crazy stuff that I was not ready for. But it looks like it was a mistake. Even top players make mistakes occasionally. I don't make mistakes. Unfortunately, a misdrop on that sends that Z to the wrong well. And Limits wants that surge. Sends an 11. There's no room to defend that. There is absolutely no room, and now it's a 2-4 game. Lucas with this crazy float. I like that float. Has a bit of a lag spike, though. But recovers from that lag spike. And now both players had a 9 surge. Are we gonna see that same thing where one sends? It's probably gonna happen. Yeah, there it is. There's the one. Both players are off. Unfortunately, I feel like Lucas Dragon would have loved to build off a higher surge, but had a really high 1-8 well, or an 8-1 well. I've heard someone call it fossil fuel stacking before because of how unsustainable it is. Because when you have a 1-8 well, you can't really, you can't build T-spins on your, you can't build T-spins on your 1-8 well with like any sort of sustainability. You can obviously get some off, but like the way building them works there is just you can't be consistent with that. Okay, I'm gonna answer the question for that. Lucas Dragon's on the left right now. And so there's a bit of a meme going on in this community. And basically, a lot of the top players have decided that it would be really funny to change their name to all be My Little Ponies. So we have like I think we have a lot of ponies in this match. I will always call them by the names that they like actually use. But yes, a lot of players who change their name to My Little Ponies because they think it's funny. And I will not comment on whether or not it is funny because people probably would not like my opinion on that. My Little Pony, like the show My Little Pony, characters from the show My Little Pony. And I don't know how Big Macintosh is a pony, but apparently Big Macintosh is a pony. But yeah, back into the game. It's currently 3-6. If we flip those over at 6-3, that's a cool stacking method, and we're looking at a big surge here on the left from Lucas Dragon. Had to send that surge out. Both are kind of high. And Lucas Dragon looking to kind of build up that attack. We're in a neutral spot, but Limit wants a surge. The send off, not enough. Yep, you need one more higher to make that kick work. I actually learned that this morning. I was watching an old VOD. I was watching a tech VOD, and it was like, yeah, you can't do that kick if you're only 2 high. It needs to be full 3. There's so much depth to the kick. There's so much depth to the kind of learning the kick tables of this game. And you can actually get like, you can use your intuition and get really close to it. But if you're good at the game, you'll want to learn exactly how each kick works so that you're never like so that you don't have to be like flying your pieces over the place and guessing at how they work. You want to know exactly how they work. And so good game knowledge then from Lucas Dragon to know that, wait, that kick is not going to work. Let's not go for that. Let's go for a different solve. And now here's a surge gap, sending it off at 12. But like a lot of surges this game, Limit just like barely felt it. You can like barely feel that attack. Oh, and is that a misdrop? I think that's a misdrop. Whatever it is, it costed them the round. 3-7 now on Big Macintosh side. Now let's see what we're opening with. We're looking PCO build on that one. On the left. I think we saw TKI on the right. Limit's kind of building slowly. Interesting decision. Oh, and a really long 1-8 well. What I said about 1-8 still applies. You can get some quads, or you can get some T-spins off of there, but it's really unsustainable because you can't, like, there's no pattern builds for it. That usually involves kind of, you basically have to quad your way down them usually. It's quads and burns are what get you down. But now we're at 7-4, and there's a certain person I would like to point this out to, but they're not here right now, so I can't, unfortunately. But we're going to be continuing that match early. Oh, we're going to be seeing that nice little float we've been seeing from the side on Lucas Dragon. I love that float. It's so cool. Someday I should learn what that's actually called. Building up Surge 7-8. It's a Dono, sends 9. But Limit's got a 31 spike. And you can see those couple lines of cheese at the bottom are going to be tough to deal with near the end. Yeah, and here's that cheese. Got to work through it and can't work through it. 4-8 now. And here we go. O's pretty far back. We're ready to see PCO build. Gets the first PC. Limit's just gonna sit there. I don't know why. Usually you don't want to sit when someone's doing a PC because usually it starts with cheese. You only want to plump really when it's gonna send you clean. But it's got a 7 surge, making it 8 and 9 with those 2 attacks. 10. A misdrop there is probably gonna cap that off at 10. But that 10 is enough to kind of put Lucas Dragon in a tough position, and tough enough that it's going to be the point. Now Limit just needs 2 more points to win the match. A 2 to go, an all clear to start it off, and an all clear PC starts building back to back. Let's see DPC go, sends another all clear. There's number 3. There's 4. Unfortunately, for Lucas Dragon there, PCs don't do what they used to. And so while it might have been enough last season, it's not enough to win it there. And we're looking at a 4-10 going into match point. A little bit much for Lucas Dragon to try and make it back from, but we'll see if he does. Find a good PC in 15 there. And is that a center 4 wide? No, it looked like it was starting to be. It looked like that was trying to be an across, but instead what it's going to be is the end of the set. Limit's going to win a score of 11-14, moving on to loser's top 6. But that's going to be worth, I think it's like 5 points. I don't know. I'll check. That's going to be worth 5 points there for Lucas Dragon. I'm going to be going into that TWC pool for them, into their bid to try and qualify, because they're strong enough they could make it. I don't know where they are on the leaderboards right now. They're currently 84th on the leaderboards right now, but still has kind of a lot of their slots open. Has gotten 27 points so far. Has a lot of slots open right now. To get into the top 64, you need 44 points. So from that 27, it's going to be, after those results get submitted, going to be at 32, and still has a bunch of open slots. So it has a lot of room to be able to work with to try and make it into that top 64 for Worlds. But as I say that, we're already going to be dashing right into the next match. The match that I'm kind of surprised we're seeing in Losers Top 6. Corpy and Hugh is a match that I'm surprised to see so early. And we're not even doing a warm-up. I didn't even get a chance to introduce these players. Corpy's one of my favorite players to watch. And seeing Corpy go against Hugh in top 8 is going to be an interesting match. Corpy's got a big trap, and you can see from Corpy's playstyle, you can see from Corpy's thing, the one thing that Corpy doesn't do. Corpy does not have full speed soft drop. Corpy's soft drop does not go instantly all the way to the bottom. And I don't know, like, it's crazy to me that people would choose to do that, but Corpy's ability to play despite that, which, I mean, there are some advantages, obviously. You can do tucks a little bit better, but it's hard to lose that speed. But what you're going to see with Corpy what you're going to see with Corpy is that Corpy plays at a speed that is slower than most players at their rank. Corpy plays at like Corpy plays a little bit slower, right? But Corpy has a good defensive play style and is able to make it work. Is able to make kind of that slower speed, but more efficient and more focused on defense and more focused on timing of when attacks work. Corpy's able to make all of that work. That's an incredibly good skill to have. And for any players who are like wondering if that's a skill worth focusing on, because I know like when I was learning the game, I'm like, why would I focus on defense when I can just like play harder? Corpy's a player you'll want to watch, and Corpy's a player that will convince you that that kind of gameplay, that kind of defensive style is one that's worth learning some things from. As you can see, Corpy's building up now that back-to-back at 7. Doesn't even need to send it. Hugh is too high. And now we're at a score of 1 even. And what are we going to see? We're seeing SDBC on one side. Can't even quite tell what that was on Corpy's side. We get into a TD. And Hugh wants to plunk a little bit. Hugh wants that clean. You can see those are nice 5 high wells over there. He's not even going to worry about building back-to-back on it. He's just going to worry about getting like a defense out. He's going to be worried about getting down, sending that attack back. But it might come back to bite because that is a 13 surge deficit there. 14, 15, 16. There was 17 and 18 right there with that S-spin and then a quad coming in that well. That would have been really hard to defend from, even if he was able to survive that. Going for the SDPC spin. Getting out that triple. Was contemplating plonking a bit for the double, but knows that that's not going to come in as a full clean quad. If it's not going to come as a full clean quad, why would you even want it? Breaks off a surge. Corpy feels a little bit of it, but not enough to make him change that. Sends that out at 10. But the pressure from Hugh there is going to be enough to tie it up. So we're looking into a 2-2 match here, 1st to 9, just like what we had last time in our second Losers Top 8 match. And now Hugh's doing what they've been doing a lot, is looking at that, they've been kind of looking in that C-spin and wanting to plonk a little bit before it comes. Want to use the opportunity to take a little bit of clean, that hopefully you can build that out either with a combo or just with the next attack. Just to burn an eye to get there, but that's perfectly fine. There's not going to be a use for it. Kills that surge. And good defense. Okay. I kind of thought he was out of the count there, but is able to defend that. But now, what we've been seeing a bunch is that Corpy is ready. Corpy's got a surge building. A brilliant eye spin there. Oh my god, that's beautiful. It's at 13. Anyone want a counting lesson? Because that's 16, 17, 18. And then has to cap it off, though, because Hugh comes with a crazy attack. Oh my god! And that's what I was saying earlier on. You can't be too greedy on that surge, because if you are, your opponent is going to stop you. Your opponent's going to pressure you over, and you're going to have to use it on the defense, and you're going to be too high up to make a good offense. All clear there from Corpy. And Hugh wants to continue that surge. Trying to decide how to do it, but now at 9, surge from Corpy. Familiar position with Corpy having the surge advantage. Hugh's desperate, digging for a way to make Corpy give up on that. Then attack, a lot of cheese to get through. By the time Hugh's through that cheese, Corpy might have another attack ready, getting an STSD. He's looking at a fractal. And now surge is building for both players at 7 and 5. Corpy breaking it off because he wanted to get that T-spin out. Oh, that's high. Is Corpy gonna be able to get down? Okay, Corpy gets down. Corpy gets down. Spends a bit too much time deciding what to do. Does a good way of delaying that quad so that you can get a little bit more combo out of it. A really smart decision. Oh, that's greedy. Oh, that's greedy. You gonna find the downstick? No way. No way. No way. No way. What did I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words. There's no way Corpy found that. What a deserved what a deserved what an absolutely deserved point there from Corpy. Incredible. Corpy showing why it has the 4 seed coming into the match. Hugh is today our 8 seed. And while the match has been close, Corpy is showing just what it can do. But that's going to be a top there for Corpy. Hugh's going to be taking that point into a 4-3 match. Now we're seeing SDPC on opposite sides there. SDPC is one that requires a good amount of soft dropping. And so it's interesting seeing that that's one that Corpy's going to go for, knowing that their soft drops are slower than anyone else's. Oh, what a brilliant find. Getting on that 12 surge, 13, counting time, 14, 15. And just is not going to let up 17. Has that thing ready there to find the well. Okay, no, not going to use it that way. Sends it off at 18, but using it to open the well, there's no defending that. Defending that is not possible. Now here we go, tied at 4, looking into a 1st-to-7 situation. You got some good offense. Corpy looking for that down stack. Oh, what a... Whoa! 11 combo! This is why Corpy's... This is why... I hate to be biased. This is why Corpy's one of my favorite players to watch. I love watching Corpy, and this is exactly why. Building on that 9 surge, and killing it at 9 to opt to go down instead. Nice eye spin there, though, to keep it going. Has found the well. Hugh kind of surprised a little bit. Builds like a really quick kind of, I think, getting 3 back-to-back chains, or 3 back-to-back charges up really quickly and then setting them all off right away. But now Corpy's going to be building that at 6. And it is interesting seeing that Corpy, every back-to-back other than a quad requires some form of soft dropping. And so Corpy is losing time every time it soft drops. But evidently it's worth it because Corpy's been playing some really aggressive attacks and really strong and powerful plays here. It shows what they're capable of. Oh, Corpy's a little bit at the top. A little bit scaring me. Good vision on the down stack. Might have been a little bit of a misdrop, though, with those 2 S's. And it's going to be a point to Hugh, 5-4. And dude, I love what I'm watching. Corpy's gonna find this down stack. Yup, Corpy's gonna find the down stack. Oh no, Corpy's not gonna find the down stack. Corpy found one of the down stacks though. On 6-4, Hughes taking a lead. Corby does not want to lose another one here. Another one here. If you get into a 7-4 situation where you're on the back foot, that's where it starting to feel hard to recover. Obviously, everything is possible, and with a player like Corby, I wouldn't expect it not to happen. I wouldn't be surprised what they can do. But you don't want to let your opponent, once that lead gets to like 3, it starts feeling scary. Ooh, that's that's an interesting spot there where like Hugh was kind of starting to build up a back-to-back, but Corby took that opportunity, sent some pressure, and despite Hugh being able to kind of send off her own, it wasn't enough, and it wasn't enough to stop. Oh, and a beautiful TSD there. Corby wants a back-to-back. Is at 5. How much further they... Yeah, there it goes. Hiding for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Holy, it's going. And there's the 20. Change of sound. 22. Doesn't even send it off. And it's tied at 6-6. Holy crap, dude. Y'all are in for a treat these closing 9 points. But Hughes got that, whatever that was going on. Looked like a misdrop caused that. Corpy needs some pressure quickly. A good pressure quick would be enough. It's not going to be enough now, though. Now that Hughes has kind of found the down stack, it's gotten to that quad well. But there's another pressure to be seen because Corpy now is starting to build up that surge. Sends it off at 11, but brings it in with a nice multiplier for a 35 spike. There's no down stack to that. And it's going to be a 6-7 match. Here we go into this next match. No O to be seen in the queue. I know both players are a big fan of running that SDPC, but that O came 7th in the bag. It came last in the bag, so you're not going to be able to do it when it comes that far back. Both players looking at that surge. Hughes already sent it off, but Corpy was able to defend without using their own, so is able to send off a 9 surge and is ready right away to start building the next one. Corpy coming in with 2 TSDs built right on top of each other. Looking to transition, gets that well open, and now it's 6-8, and just like that, Corpy's kind of come back from a 4-6 deficit and now is up by 2. 4 points in a row, and that's going to be a really good one for them to win. One more here would be pretty nice, I think. But besides that, that's a strong attack. Is Corby going to be able to defend it? Sends off the surge out of necessity. Not for the power it came with, but for the fact that they had to do it to get the down stack. Has the TSD open, but the T is kind of late in the queue. Whatever that dono was to get it open is absolutely incredible. And now it's a 6-9 match. That's pretty nice. Sorry, I'm immature. But here we go. 2 more points for Corpy is all that it needs to be able to move on. And remember, folks, we are in that loser's top 8 match. The loser of this gets 5 TWC points. But for both of these players, I know they're both playing really strong. 5 is, they want more than 5. They both want more than 5. Right, Corpy actually is sitting right now. If you look on the world's website, Corpy is sitting in 17th right now. And at the end of April, so in 1 month, the top 16 get their secured spot through. So Corpy really, really, really wants that extra point right here. It would do a lot. And now here we go. Set point here, 10-6. And Hugh sitting in 24th in TWC also would love to get the chance to qualify early. But here we go, SDPT spin for Hugh. There's a TST, gets that up to a 4. Both players have their surge active, 6-on-1. Hugh breaks. Oh, and Corpy's ready. Corpy's ready. Let's see how far it takes it, man. Is already at a double digit, half the board. And that's... Oh, dude. Uh, yeah. What am I... There it is. There's the attack, and there's no way there's a recovery from that. It's kind of close, but close only counts in other games. 11-6. Corpy takes our match. Congratulations, Corpy is going to be fighting against... Going to have another match against another pony coming up. But until then, I think we'll be swapping to the other side first. And yeah, for this next match, we're going to be getting right into it. We've got Cold and Fluxstar on that left side, and Limit is going to be our player on the right. And we are going to be getting into a warm-up. I'll be taking the warm-up chance to step out again for a brief refreshment break. But good luck to both in the warm-up. All right. About a 30-second warm-up again, and we are back. We're ready to get into this match. Good luck to both players. And now my cat is seeking attention again. All right, my cat's going to commentate. She doesn't want to say a lot of words right now. But we're getting right into this first to 11 match. We've got an interesting speed gap here. Limit's going about a piece a second faster. And a brilliant STSD there on the 1-8. One of the rare opportunities you get with a 1-8 well. And to take it very strongly. And now on this right side, Coholden's going to be that STSD, but has to cover it up because of too much pressure and is not going to be able to capitalize on it. A little bit too strong, and it's going to be a 1-0 match. All right, here we go. How are we going to see these people open? Quick TSS from Limit there and building up into an STSD. Coholden looks like they want to do some stuff with those spins. And yeah, we're looking at some faster players now. It's bringing up the intensity, and now Limit's going to be sending off that 9 surge. Here we go in this 1-0 match, coming on that 40-second mark. Going to be seeing some mid game. Pressure coming out from Limit though, and APM is strong, but the pressure's been sent back. It's got some really tall stacks to get through. First part is getting to them though, gets through one of them, sends a triple out through the second, and now is all the way back down. Who sends a nice float there. Was eyeing starting a large surge, but had to break it at 6. And whatever that's going on that side, it looks like Limit just got to cover that up and is going to hope that there's not enough pressure that's going to stop him from down stacking. But Golden knows the right play there, knows that the play is clear all the pressure. Don't let Limit actually get through that, and has done a good job there. And here we go. Quick PC there on Limit side. But a nice tall stack in that center for Coke Golden. My cat is now attacking my face. And the surge is starting to build up on Coke Golden's side. Sends off a nice 13, and you can see a bit of cheese there on Limit side. Now here we go. There's a lot of self-made cheese there. Limit's going to hope they can use that as an advantage, hoping that they can send some pressure and get back down, and that pressure was sent, and we're at a 2-1 game. And Limit's just not placing pieces. Decides to go Golden a 4-second advantage, because I don't know, man. But here we go, in game 4 now. Starting to look at some mid-game. And it's a quick top there from Coco, bringing it tied at 2. Tied at 2 seems to be a theme. The last 3 games in a row now we've been tied at 2. And Limit's doing that same thing. Wants to plonk, but Starter just not going to allow him plonk. Oh, and that T getting stuck in the T-hole! Dude, that's what... That's always a really tough one, because that T-hole just gets stuck there and there's no way you can kick it out. Limit's not plonking, but Limit wants, like... Limit at least wanted to take the first attack. You don't place nothing. You don't place nothing in the first 5 seconds. Unless you're, like, falling asleep at your computer. Maybe Limit's falling asleep at the computer instead. But evidently at least wanted to take the first attack. Oh, I'm getting inside news that delay was just Limit talking in a Discord channel. That's really funny. That's really funny. I take back what I said, only because that is the way funnier option. But here we go now, 2-3. 2-3 coming in. Oh, and that's bring it 2-4. All right, here we go, game 7. Limit, no talking, Limit. Just play your game. Just play your game. There you go. Good job. Good job. You played the game. Okay, here we go. Copeland's got some. Oh, got that. There's probably a name for that. I don't know it, but it was nice. Here we go now. Limit's starting to bring that back 3-4. Now into game number 8 of this set. And Co's got some messy stuff on that. You better not let him live with that. You better not let him live. There's so much cheese there, though. A strong attack will be enough to put it over, because you need fast down stack. It was like halfway through the cheese. It's almost there. Oh my god, you let him get through the cheese. And now it's tied at 4. 7 left on each. And now the Surge is starting to be up 6-4 on Surges. Surge is even. What are we gonna see? I always like when it happens. Okay, one Surge is out, but the other didn't come with. And now it's at 13, 14, 15, 16. Don't even need to send it off because the pressure itself is enough. But knowing that even if it didn't work, you had that pressure, and you had that pressure, it was building. And now, as we're in a pretty even game here, we're looking at each player's kind of looking for when they can start taking an advantage on Surge, but also both players are doing a good job kind of knowing when not to go for it. But that's a really strong spike. There's no coming back. Well, it's just too strong. And now here we go. Taking that first quad. I don't know if it's plonking or if it's being a person who's chatting. I don't know. Either way, starting to build up those back-to-back at 7. Sends out at 7. Has a lot of self-made cheese. Got some zippers to make it through. Those are always the worst kind of cheese because you have to generally cover it up as you build down. I didn't take that garbage. Good play there. Has some spinning to work with there. Sends off a 4 Surge. Always love when you can get this 4 right when you need to go down stack, because then you can send it off, get that extra attack, and now it's 6-5. I feel like a lot of games have been so close today. Neither player has kind of let the opponent get away with just kind of running it off by themselves. I mean, a lot of really close matches today, which I always come to appreciate. Now Limit's looking to start a Surge. That garbage comes in the perfect well. Instead of going for a Surge, he's going to bring a good down stack with that 24 spike. And I'll build the Fractal out for another 18 attack. Yeah, Code Holden just does not have it, bringing it to 7-5. Dude, and a crazy 35 spike from Limit. It's crazy seeing stuff like a 35 spike and then just watching it get lived. And not only lived, like, that 35 spike happened like 10 seconds ago maybe. There's no garbage. Barely even noticed it. Now, Limit's stacking over some cheese, but also just has some crazy LST going. Yeah, now here we go. 7, 8, 9. It does not worry about down stacking right now, just wants the Surge, and that looks like it was the right call there, bringing the game to 8-5. Alright, now here we go. Game 16 or something. I can't count that high. Limit again, looking like wants that Surge really badly, but in this case, not able to go for it, not working for it. That was 14. I can't count. But now here we go, 8-6. Limit needs 3. Golden needs 5. And that gets a triple off that because you're only 4 high. Once you clear the TSD, that makes it 3. But just some kind of consistent gameplay on each side here. As I mentioned before, it looks like kind of these players are just kind of like in position, ready to start making their move, but was waiting for the right time, not going to push too hard on anything. Now 9-6, Limit just needs 2 more, and we're seeing an early O. We're gonna see a. They can decide whether or not it was stick or SDPT there, but we got that stick from Golden, and I think it was TKI on the other side. It gets right into that well for a 30 spike. There's no way. It could have been a way if you were one piece ahead in the queue, but 10-6 match point here. It's going to take a lot for Holden to end up winning this. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be hard. But you'll have to take it 1 point at a time. Here we go into just ST stacking again from Limit. Oh, and the well came right in that 8th column. I struggled a little bit getting it back into a spot where that ST works, and actually isn't going to be able to do that, which gives Holden just enough time to get over. Has to do some spinning on that eye, but in the end, it's not enough, and the game's going to end in an 11-6 for our first losers quarters match. And now we've got Corpy's playing a pony. We've got Corpy against M85. Corpy beat the first pony. Can Corpy take out both ponies that made it to top 8? We will see. And this is about as even as you can expect a match to get. On the left, we've got M85. Nightmare Moon is their pony Sona. I hate that I said that. We've got our 3 and 4 seed. An interesting match to have in our top 6 section. But it should be a good one. Again, kind of as we've seen with Corpy, and as you'll be able to continue seeing with Corpy, you're going to see that defensive play style. You're going to see that defensive play style be really important to Corpy's game. But we'll see if it's enough, because M85 does have some strong attack. You see a 1 in 61 APM average. You get to a certain point, defensive wouldn't be enough. But we're going to be going into the match. We aren't having a warm-up for this match. My goats. No early O. No TD opener on this left side here. There's nothing too flashy, just consistent gameplay from each. But what's fire? Again, capping off with that quad there. The quad itself sent 14 lines, right? It took it from an 18 to a 32. So the quad itself was worth 14. That's what happens when you get it on the multiplier. An unfortunate misdrop from M85 on that side. But it's gotten right back into that well. It's going to be good for some attack there. 5 surge on each. 1-8 well. A good dono to be able to get some out of it. Oh, brilliant! Brilliant burning to get that 1-8 well with the 1 just at exactly 4. So that you could then get a transfer without losing back-to-back. That's really hard to do. And now both players surge so high. Sending out 19, sending out 18 back. And it's basically a wash. Now both players are ready to kind of start working towards that next match. It almost feels like zone battle when that happens, right? Like both players get, it's almost like when both players get a zone that's like so similar, and now they're just kind of like rushing to be the one to kind of take advantage of the neutral state better. That's what it feels like. And now they're both doing it again. It's at 14 and 16. They're both trying to be the ones to get a little bit of an advantage coming out of it. Tied at 18-19 each. The one goes off. Corpy has to send its also. Oh my god, we're in for a treat, folks. Now, neither player building back-to-back right now. Both of them kind of just trying to work through the garbage that was sent to them. But it's going to be enough. M85 did not have a play there, and Corpy's going to be moving into the lead 2-0. All right, here we go. We're going to be looking at mere PC setups. Nobody's going to get that PC or even go for it, I don't think, but we're going to be watching those numbers very carefully. Because we know both of these players well enough. We know that their style is one where they're going to want to build up back-to-back. What a play from Corpy there. And here it is. 15 to 17, 16 to 18. There's 20. And the surges aren't even going to get the chance to go off because while we have surge, you still have to survive to be able to send it. And so while M85 had a 17 surge, it was not enough. Now M85 is going to go for that extended we've seen them do in their last match. Extended is always pretty good because it comes with, like, by itself, I think, 7 or 8 back-to-back. Corpy killing the back-to-back early. It just spends too long thinking, and is going to be the first point that they give up to M85 there. Here we go. That O was a little too far back, but you can always do reverse. I don't know the reverse for stick, but if you're going to make it your main opener, you got to know the reverse. And so extended SDPC spin is what we see coming out. And that super powerful 20 attack when you get from not only having your back-to-back, but you're also doing a 3, you're getting like a quad on the third combo is always going to be really strong. And just the continuing pressure from that is going to be enough for M85 to be taking the second point. And now here we go, TKI mirrored. So M85 is going to be building it with a fractal, already at 4 combos. Oh gosh, this is how they're going far. There's so much clean that it's like both players are able to get to the well. M85 has sent off the surge, but Corby hasn't yet. I'm going to use this as a great opportunity to keep pushing that. A little bit slow on the plays there, but has found the way out, and now M85 is going to be rushing to kind of start closing that surge gap. Oh, what? Okay, that was a little bit too strong. That's really good timing then from M85, because anything slower would have been enough for Corpy to kind of exit with about a 20 surge lead and growing. It was kind of M85's last opportunity there to make a good play to try and counter that, but has made full opportunity of it. And now we're seeing them tied at 8, 9. Corpy breaks in favor of down stack. M85 now is the one who has the chance to keep stacking. Sends a 29 combo with help from that surge. 29 combo, 29 spike. 29 combo would be messed up. Now here we go. Both players into having a surge again. Let's see if it can kind of be brought. Color clear from Corpy to open the well. M85 is so high. Can't keep going with that. The thing was, Corpy was all the way at the... Oh, okay. Corpy was all the way at the bottom, so had room, at least thought it had room to be able to accept some of that garbage. Unfortunately, ultimately, Corpy didn't have the room. The attack from M85 was just a little bit too strong. I'm getting a phone call. I did not answer this phone call right now because I am on comms. But both players kind of are working, both players working out into that. M85 has a little bit of a lead there, which is great. Yeah, M85 just can't decide how to break out of it. Eventually finds the way. And now it's going to be tied back up at 4-4. OMG, Sketchy with the 10 gifted. Let's go. What? And none of them got gifted to me. I can't believe it. SMH. But here we go, even at 6 now. That's kind of, we've seen at the beginning of this game, and we're going to be probably seeing it the rest of this game, where these two players are going head to head. And these two players are just like going to be fighting for that surge. Neither player is being too strong on the pressure without surge, but wants to win the surge game. And we're seeing both in the double 2 digits. 24 and 25 each. The numbers are too big. 30 each. A board and a half of garbage each. Coming on 2 boards each. Neither player wants to be the first to send. We're at 40-41. Both players have 2 boards of garbage in their surge. Sends off 41. And the 45 comes back. And neither player are quite dead yet, but it's going to be too much with that next pressure. What is this game? And the fact that, like, these two players, this is how they play. Like, you watch a game between these two players, that's what happens because they're both so good at that surge. And I get 22 attack. For being able to defend that without burning out surge, has to burn out surge for it. And there we go, 4-6. Oh, now a little bit of a misdrop from the 85 is going to be caused to break that surge. It's going to have us trouble getting back down. It was getting close, but not fast enough. And now we're going to be at a 4-7 match. And now here we go, C-spin. I'm getting another call. Why am I getting... Again, I can't answer this while I'm commentating. But we're at 5-7. And Corpy's looking to make that 8. Corpy's gonna make that 8. All right, here we go. The surge gap now is looking to be in M85's favor. The color clear is going to bring it down. Six to 8 here now going. We're going to see STPC, but on opposite sides. As we know, M85 is going to be going for that extended. They always do. And a good 25 spike might be too much for Corbin. No, not going to be too much. are now both kind of into the neutral. M85 knowing that they've got that, knowing that they've got kind of that, dude, that the S and Z spin triple without like the kind of overhang is always so cool. I love those. Now here we go. It looks like we're seeing the surge start to build here on M85's side. And now it's double digits, sending out 12, and Corpy has no defense for it, bringing it to a 7-8 match. And I think both players have just gentlemaned into taking a, like, brief pause. Is that what I'm seeing? That's funny. Right, now they're back into playing. Good sportsmanship on both sides there. All right, here we go, tied at 8. Fractal building on this left side for M85. And what we've been seeing the whole game, both of them are looking at those back-to-backs. Corpy did not need to kill to send the other one, but needs to block it here. Oh, and that garbage might be too much. It is. And with just 2 points remaining to go, M85 is going to take a lead. Now, both players have. I feel like I'm a broken record, but the Surge is too good. The Surge gameplay is too good to not just keep talking about here. We're doing some really risky play to send off that 16 Surge, from building it into a 26 spike. That is the thing about Surge too, is if you're gonna send your Surge, you probably want to do it with a spike too, just so that you can get that extra bit. Because while a 16 Surge is a lot, if you can use it to turn a 10 spike into a 26 spike, that's even better. Now on M85 side, good control over the board there, good control over the pieces to be able to hold that while doing a well swap. But the gap is just hovering around that 8 mark. Sending 19, but has a single to clear, but the next attack from Corpy's too much. And so we're going to be remaining at 2 on each side. As we continue into the next round. And it's that was a quick round. I didn't even see it, but we are moving in. And now it's 10-9. Corpy needs this match to stay in it. All right, now it's a one-sided Surge. I mean, if I had to break theirs, that's a 16. What a spin! That's a beautiful spin. Having to send that out to be able to block, but it all clear means that not only is a lot of that going to get blocked, but you weren't high up enough anyways to begin, so there was no pressure to be sent. Like, that pressure was not going to do enough in any world. Now here we go. Players are kind of getting in that reset mentality. Oh, that's a strong attack. Obviously, you want to continue surge when you can, but it's hard to know if that was worth it. It probably isn't, and it wasn't. An 11-9 end for that game is going to put M85 into the loser semifinals. But before we get there, we're going to be taking a trip back up to our top. We're going to be playing our winners finals match before moving into loser semis. And we're going to have those two players that are not going to want to warm up at all. Akma and Red Monster, who is actually Summer J and is not a pony, but used to be a pony. We're going to be ready for the start there. And yeah, as we said, they're not going to be doing a warm-up, so we're going to be starting with this first to 11. And Akma's going to be taking some notes from that previous match, going to be building and starting with a pretty strong surge. And now here we go into that second point. Akma's speed is so hard to beat here. Right, we're looking at a piece and a half gap per second. It's really hard to beat a piece and a half gap. And now here we go, both sides building up a good surge. 13, there's about a 6 gap here. But if one sends and the other doesn't have to, it'll make so much of a difference. Now that gap is increasing. It's at 9 now. 19 gets sent. Whoa! That's a disadvantage of going as fast as Akma did, because you get 8 lines every time you place a piece, right? You cap at 8 lines. So the fact that Akma playing at what 4.5 pieces a second, you get 2/3 of a second before you've been sent 24 lines. So like you have to react to that coming in, and despite the surge only being worth 19 coming in, Akma had a 27, but wasn't there fast enough, wasn't there in time to be able to recover for it, and that made the difference, and that brought us to a match that is now tied at 1 point each. Strong surge coming from Summer J. Akma, though, had that fractal at the bottom to be able to cancel most of those lines. Now Summer J's at the top. Akma's got a start to a surge, not even going to need to send it out. Does send it out, but didn't need to. The attack was strong enough anyways to end the match. Or end the point. Match is still going. And now here we go, scores 1-2. Moving into some more mid-game, a little bit of a misdrop on Summer J's side is going to be tough to recover, especially when Akma is working on that surge. Sends a 13. It'd be worth a good amount of cheese. Summer J at the top of the board does not have the down, and now it's 1-3. Yeah, we are seeing our 1 and 2 seed here. 1 and 2 seed have prevailed into the winners finals. Now 11 each, 12 each. Both players wanting to push this. Summer J finds the transition into the open well. Is at 18. Akma's sent, but Summer J didn't need to just cancel. The Fractal bringing it up to 22. A 23 caps off a 42 spike. Not quite the red arrow, but it's so deadly and damaging. Yeah, Summer J is on something else there. Hasn't taken the lead yet, but again, it's hard to take a lead against a player like Akma, but is showing that they deserve to be here and are capable of pulling this if it comes to a chance. But now Akma's taking that position right back. Now Akma's the one building the surge, and it's at 22. And there's no signs of stopping. 26, 27. 28, 29, and now it's a board and a half. The gap's only a board. Sends off a 36, the cap off a 63 spike. Sorry, do I need to say that again? A 63 spike? I think I need to say it one more time. A 63 spike. And you see that red arrow for the spike out means that not only was the top out enough, not only did the top out work, but there was an extra 20 lines sitting there. The spike outs when there's an extra 20 lines that was sent to past the 40. It was a 63 spike. In case anybody didn't catch that, 63 spike. I know like half the people can't count that high, but like that's a pretty big number. And Aqua's ready for just another insane pressure, 242 APM. And is starting to run away with this 2-5 early. Oh, do we see any of the people go for it? Yeah, we're seeing Red Monster, seeing Summer doing the SDPC. And both are looking to start their surge. Now, on Summer J's side, this board's looking a little bit messy. Hopefully, recover before Akma finds the pressure. Yeah, here we go. Akma's building it up again. I don't think we'll quite see a 63 spike like last time. Clears it out at 15. Summer J didn't kill right away, but the pressure coming following it was enough. Pressure following a little bit too hard to recover from. Now we're seeing PCO build over from Summer J. Now Akma's going to keep doing that SCPC build. Bring off those two quads. A good combo down. Does a combo down stack instead of going for instead of going for that surge. Probably was the right decision there. And given that now we're at a 2-7 because that was enough to kill, it was enough. Here we go. It was early enough, but we're going to be seeing 2 TKIs. TKI quite great for building that back-to-back, building that surge up. Now we're seeing first board's already gotten to 8. Oh, and Aqua took Summer's surge, and it's nowhere near stopping at 15. Send it at 17 was part of a 25 spike. Summer J's at the bottom of the board, but there was just too much garbage that, like, even though Summer J was at the bottom, there's nothing to stop it. There's nothing to stop it. Even all that cheese, nothing could have been Clint. I've seen that PCO build on the left there. Aqua's going for the... Dude, Aqua's so fast. You got 2 TSDs there. A good 22 spike on the down stack. Aqua has to break Surge to defend it. But now has built a fractal on top of a quad well. Not quite getting the spin there, but Summer J knows that it's over. There's no defense to be had. Well, there was if you would have found it earlier. Incredible. I did not see that, but that was there. Summer J found that earlier. There would have been a down stack, but Aqua was able to continue piling on the pressure. And now here we go, 2-10. Sounds like it's going to be a little bit too tough to recover from. But somebody's going to give it everything they have with a speedy open. But speedy might not be enough to counter just the insane pressure that comes from Akma, especially with this surge. We're already looking at half a board, 15, 3/4 of a board got sent from the surge, 220 APM in a 21-second round to send it off. And now We get to move into our losers semis match. But yeah, I guess the news I'm reading. The news I'm reading, it looks like Summer J is not going to be playing that losers final match. Is gonna called out there to go to bed. So the winner of this losers finals moves on to grands. So extra stakes for these players is not only does a win take them from that fourth place that they get from losing to third, but it actually gets them at least up to second, because then you get the automatic pass on to finals. So a loser of this would get 14 KWC points, but winner gets minimum 25. So if 11 points on the line just for this one match. And we'll see what they can do in the penultimate set of the day. We are going to be seeing a warm-up here. Limit comes off first with a strong attack. M85 is going to have a bit more trouble working through it, though. Able to find the well, but is starting to get gapped on Surge there. It's already got a half a board. Comes with a 19 spike. Finds the defense, though. builds in that LSD. Absolutely brilliant. But that's going to be enough to end that right there. Now, as we come through here, time for the match. First to 11 for our loser semis, but also our grand finals qualifiers right here. I got attack here from limit. And what felt like an early top, but might have just been the consequence. Yeah, looking at the replay, it was just the consequence of a bit of a misdrop. Now 1-0. Now moving into mid-game of this point, Limit spending a little bit of time trying to figure out what to do with that piece. Had a little bit of time fitting it in the hole, but ended up figuring it out in time. Both players at the bottom looking to jostle, force them back-to-back. But M85 not going to take that, instead just going to move down. Now here we go, 7. And I'm getting that red arrow there. And spike out is enough. 2-0. Getting a strong and fast open from limit there. I mean, if I'm looking like it's probably an attack. I didn't quite see it, but it probably was that extended, but just not fast enough to get through the continuance there. Well, it looked like there was a chance to get down. Limit's pressure was just too much. There was no No surviving that level of pressure. All clear from M85. Adds an extra 5 to the attack. Spinning that T a little bit. Just a little bit. Now the pressure from Limit is too strong. And unfortunately, this might be how this match turns out, where Limit's pressure is just too much to handle. Yeah, and M85 mentioned kind of being in a spot where, like, a little bit tired after that last game he played, which was a really tough game. And that match might have taken just too much out, and now it's just trying to survive, but having a hard time doing so. Limit's building up that back-to-back, caps it into a 31. There's no defense. And that's going to be the 5th point for Limit. Getting close to that halfway mark. Right now, this match has been a little bit closer than the other ones. The 5-0, but the players are both putting up a fight. And now Limit's looking for some pressure with that center well. Wants to get ahead because M85's surge is going to be a little bit powerful. Needs to get down before that surge gets sent. That surge gets sent, and Limit feels nothing because the pressure was strong. A strong attack there. It's going to be M85's first point, actually. 5-1 starts to find the foothold. The Limit has not placed a piece yet. Definitely doesn't feel like a choice you would do to wait that long, even if you were plonking. A little bit suspicious of those plays there. Surge Gap is getting there. Forces Limit to have to downstack in a weird way, and it's going to be the 2nd point now to M85. Now here we go. Oh, wait. Don't call it a comeback, but like, Limit's been having some shaky setups here, and M85's been taking advantage. So you could see a little bit of a fight taking place. It'd be hard to counter what Limit has, but also the potential's there. The Surge Gap's in the right spot for M85 with these 2 TSDs there. Breaks that off out of necessity, just for the board state. And now it's at a more neutral spot, but with Limit having a slight advantage here. M85 is all the way down, but Limit had a couple missed drops that stopped him from being able to defend the attack that was coming in. And up now, we had a 5-0, now it's 5-4. Going into point number 10. Well, that's a little bit of a missed drop. Forces some weird spins, but it's still all, like, doable. That is not a special spin, so that does not count for bonus, and it kills that back-to-back. But now Limit and M85 both in pretty neutral spots, moving into a back-to-back build phase. Limit breaks it out, though, and M85 follows suit. M85 a little high up. Bit of a misdrop from Limit on that T piece though means they don't have the attack to send back, and now M85 is right back at the bottom of the board. That I might have been meant to go in the center, but I think it's just fine where it is. And now a good down stack from Limit. That's gonna be. Oh wait, the pressure though, because M85 had a surge. A good mini TSD sends off a 25 spike, and good 2-7 coming now from Limit. Gets the well swap in just perfectly. Now makes a transition, sends off a 10 surge with it. M85 is really high up. Finds a way down though. And has access to that well and is back down. And a misdrop on that T, or on that L, also forces a misdrop on the T, just to not get the dash over. And this has been a long point. We're looking at 2 minutes 15 already. But that's going to be the point there for Limit, is we're having a 6-4 match. And now we're seeing that extended from M85. Oh, building a float over it. That's cruel. Limit trying to defend it. Has the defense, but it was really scary for me. And there we go. It gets all the way down. 6-5, a lot closer of a match than the beginning was going to suggest. We're halfway through. Limit needs to take control of the match now before it gets too late. M85's got the advantage of having a 2-7 or a 7-2 there. 7-2 is really good for those T-spins, really good for bringing up that back-to-back. And now we're at an 11 lead. Has to break it off to keep the build, though. Damage getting sent back. Both players kind of in a tough spot where a strong attack from the opponent would be enough, and that strong attack's going to come from M85. And we're going to have a 6-6 game. We're 1-5 now. And now M85 might have found his footing, might have found the way that he's going to get back in, and hopefully even potentially take his path towards Grants. But Limit does not want that to happen. We're looking at a 7-6 game after that quick 9-second round. Now here we go. Limit's starting to build up some pressure. M85 wants a surge. It's a little high. It makes me scared. But I think I might have the right choice now. Misdrop from that L piece for Limit is going to put him just high enough where M85 now is in the lead. And mirrored all clear from both players. Limit gets the second. M85 doesn't go for it. A good Kaiden on that bottom there. was almost about to overgreen and create an eye dependency after placing 2 eyes, but knows that that eye is really far back in the bag. You got it like right at the beginning of the bag. Could have been up to like 13 away, so it was a good decision not to go for it. That limits pressure strong, but not enough. Not enough yet, at least. M85 is going to find the way down. Oh, and now a beautiful STSD there from limit. Oh, and the multiplier spikes on the 41. Yeah, there's no way. Limit kept playing, didn't need to. Was that quad? I think was on the 10th combo or whatever. I think it by itself was worth something like 20. It was just beautiful. Really hard to defend something like that. That was 8-7. Limit just needs 3 more. Wants to start running away with it now. Decides to plunk a little bit. Wants a little bit extra garbage. Alright, now there's a down stack. Finds the well on the side. Combo sounds scary, but not going to come with the weight of a very strong attack. Limit fumbles with that. Us trying to feed it in. And now the surge is being built up from M85's side. On 14, had that Kaiden on the side. Decided to send it off at 15. 15 is not enough to do serious damage there. In fact, just feeds into a 23 spike on the backside, and now it's 9-7. 2 points left for limit. We'll see where this open takes him. Limit breaking off of that back-to-back to be able to get the quad and the well swap. Good decision, I'd say, for there. And now we're at 8 back-to-back. That's starting to get scary. That's going to be a point. And now it's 9-8. So many close matches today. Anyone's game at this point. That once this 172, that APM was a little bit too strong, and that limits on match point. Fast open from both players. Neither wants to be. Obviously, one player wants to win this a little bit more, but neither player would like to lose this point. And it's important for both of them. Strong pressure from M85, though. Limit kind of has to go away from how you'd optimally play that in order to play it in a defensive way. And this stops you from topping out. Sacrifices a little bit of garbage, but it keeps him alive. And now we're in the mid-game, a more neutral spot. But there's a lot of pressure being sent to limit. And it's going to be 10-9. 2 more points at most, however this goes. Fiddling around with that. That's not very fortunate. And that's going to be a tiebreaker. We're going to be at 10-10. What a set we've had. One that looked like it was going to be crazy one-sided, but now M85 has brought it back, and whoever wins this moves on to Grands. M85 looks in a tough spot, especially after that misdrop. But Limit doesn't have the defense. It's not ready. Oh, but is that enough? It's not, but it's close. M85 greeting a little bit, getting that quad out the side, finds the open well, and gets back down. If the 19 spike coming back, and now it's Limit who's in the toughest position. M85 builds a fractal. Has some weird stacking decisions, leaving a couple holes, but the holes don't matter when the top out happens. And M85 is going to win 11-10. Doesn't get any closer than that. What a great match we have. And now M85 moving into what feels like it's going to be a quite difficult finals. Coming all the way from winter semis, taking a loss there, and now has played their 2 matches and losers and back into Grands to play not against the one who put them in losers, but the winner from the other side, Akma. Seed 1 versus Seed 3 we have going into our grand finals today. And we are, looks like, going to be getting a warm-up in today. Could be Akma versus M85. And it'll be a very tough match. We are going to be getting a warm-up in for this match. Let's watch that warm-up, and then we can move into our finals. But yeah, what a tournament it's been today. M85 going to be doing a signature extended for some strong early game attack, building it off into a 10 combo with a strong cap, spiking out Akma in the warm-up. M85 has a chance here. It's not over. About a 300 TR gap, APM gap about 20, but it looks there's a big speed gap there. About a piece a second speed gap. We've seen Akma play so fast in this match today. And we'll see if we see that going into finals as well. And at the request of M85, we are going to be taking a brief pause. I'm sure that last match came with a lot of nerves. Kind of hard to play against that. So we are going to be taking a brief pause. Looks like they are ready now. It's going to be a good finals. Aqua's going to be on our winner side here, but we've got M85 on the left and ready to be a good match coming in. Let's see our open. M85 going for something I've never seen before. Now Aqua's just build. Oh my! Oh, it's beautiful. Cancels that at A. Dude, that's beautiful. The pressure from Akma is so strong, especially when you're speed gapped like this. You have to be doing so much to keep going. Especially what you can see is Akma knows how to just build up the surge really rapidly. Right, takes a lot of advantage of those minis. There's a lot of advantage of those minis to be able to then have the pressure to attack stronger. Now here we go, both kind of in a neutral spot, but M85's got a lot to work through, and that surge, that death number is not getting any smaller. Send it off at 24. Luckily, it has to be a defensive stuff. It has to be a defensive surge. So, like, Akma ends up getting some pressure out, but M85 doesn't take most of it, and it's in a position where he can keep fighting. But as fast as that ended, that number's back up to 12, gets sent out at 12, and there's not quite a down stack. 0-1 in favor of Akma today, our winner's side player in this grand finals. And a misdrop, unfortunately, on the SDPC from M85. Plays around with that washing machine a little bit. The strong pressure them from Aqua's can make it so tough to live. That attack's too strong, I think. Yeah, it is. It's getting worried. I was getting suspicious for a little bit that there was going to be a recovery there, but not quite. Not enough. And now here we go. We're seeing SDVC on both sides, except Aqua's going to take that PC. Meanwhile, M85 is too slow to be able to get it. The garbage comes faster. It was greeting a little bit too high up on that board. Sends out the defensive surge, but it's not enough to counter the pressure. And Aqua's starting to run away with it 3-0. Now here we go. We have that early go again. We're building extended on the top for M85 there. But Aqua does not want to let up that pressure. 8 surge already, and the pressure is so strong. Sends the 10. M85 in a kind of awkward spot. Finds a way to do that without breaking surge. Sends 12 on the offensive, but it's not going to be enough to kill it. In fact, it's just going to be enough to let Aqua have the pressure to send down 0-4. We got an early we know that M85 loves to see that early 4. Or that early Aqua was going to use it instead to do a TKI, though. I could play with those mini, already bringing that surge up to 8 where it gets sent off. Oh, and that puts Aqua a little high. This might be the first point. It's got to send the pressure, though. Unfortunately, M85 just doesn't have the pressure to send when it matters. And so Aqua's found the space and has gotten back down. Flirts a little bit with setting up some back-to-back, but needed to get down first. Now that Aqua's down, is ready to go for that surge. And does some really interesting plays right there with the minis to hold that up. Sent the surge into it, all clear! And the fact that that wasn't enough to kill is incredible. Now, Aqua's the one that feels in a weird position here. That board state is kind of tough to work with, but found the way down. And M85 is not going to have a chance to win a point in that round. Aqua's on 5-0, but we know what happened last time a player was playing against M85 and was winning 5-0. We know that this does not mean anything yet. There's an advantage, but that advantage can be so easily taken back. And some strong pressure is actually going to be Aqua's first game here. It might be a repeat of what we saw earlier. That 5-0 now becomes a 1-5. And M85 wants a chance. He's not going to give up this quick. Agreed. With the back-to-backs in favor of... Oh, get out of the... Yeah, struggling to get that T out of the hole. Keeps building back-to-back. That's not the right decision that high, and it's so messy that even the slightest amount of pressure from Aqua is going to be too much, and there's no way that M85 is able to recover from such a spot. And now here we go. We see extended again now from... there, but the pressure from Aqua means that the pressure from Aqua is coming strong enough that M85 was not able to do the full extended routine that they're used to being able to doing. It was capped off a little bit on that attack. Now back at 11, Aqua's sitting there. I don't know if Aqua wanted more garbage. I can't even tell like what the plan was there. It seems like the wrong move. Now, Aqua seems to be one slight advantage, given M85's board was not compatible with sending strong attack, and now it's 1-7, 4 points left. Aqua can take this here. Well on the way to winning. M85 kind of off to a slow start here. Finds a good combo to go down, but that combo isn't going to matter enough. There's so much clean on Aqua's side. The pressure's so strong because there's so much material to work with. Just shy of 200 APM. 3 points left now for Aqua. and it's looking more and more impossible for M85 to come back and finish this off. But if anything's going to do it, it's going to be M85's extended, which he has to once again bail out of midway through because the pressure was too strong and he'd been taking too much lines to get to the top. And a misdrop at 10 surge has to send that out. 15 comes back. And once again, M85's board is bad. There's not a lot to work with there, and the well was too hard to open up. And so now Akma is just 2 points away from becoming a Radiant 132 champion. But here we go now, pressure's strong. Both players looking to build that back-to-back, but M85's got an advantage here. His strong surge keeps working, and Aqua's board's got some cheese on it. Sends out the surge, and Aqua's board has some misdrops on it, and it's going to be the second point, 2-9. Those 2 points that M85 has right now are the two that Aqua really wants to get coming up here. Going for extended, and looks like he's going to be able to finish it this time. Just a little bit of stalling, hoping to get some more garbage. It clears that out to an 8 surge. They have one big well in that in column 9. It just barely has enough to stop the attack from M85. It needs to go down fast. Doesn't go down fast enough, and now Akma is at tournament point. We're going to see this here now, 2-10. We'll see what Akma does to try and finish this off. And it's an unfortunate start from M85. There's just not a lot of pressure being sent there. And the surge is building up. It's already at 10, half a board. Half a board gets sent. It's canceled quite nicely, and M85's back down. M85 fighting for his life, though. Has made some great decisions here to stay alive, but that pressure's so strong. Even getting that eye over, the pressure is not enough. And that is going to end our tournament here. 11-2 in grand finals. Akma's our Radiant 132 champion, and congratulations. Take home 34 TWC points and be a great contributing factor to making Worlds. Akma is already our 8th place in Worlds. And with that win, actually, let me check some things here. It's actually 32 points. Okay, so that's not a new highest. 32 already was Akma's 5th place. Not going to be gaining any points from there. But securing more points, and is just a month away if Akma can hold that number 8 spot, gets a TWC invitation. Oh, there's a thing on the board. I was, like, not even paying that much attention. Apple Orchard Cup. It's like tomorrow. That's tomorrow. March 29th is tomorrow. But yeah, we've got Apple Orchard Cup 2. Pros, whatever team is hosting that. The first iteration of that was, I think late last year or early this year, something like that. I know a lot of people had a lot of fun with that. I didn't get to play it personally, but they seem to do a great job there. So if you're interested, play that tomorrow. I'm gonna flame whoever made this poster. It's currently daylight savings time. But if you want to come there, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. Pacific. There's that UTC time there for everybody who I don't care enough to translate for. Be there or be Apple, I don't know. This is a TWC Gold qualifier, so those who are looking to earn a bit more points than you can get on a silver like this would have a great time over there fighting for those points. Yeah, I think that's all we had today. We're going to be looking for our raid to close this out. But to everyone who is around for this tournament, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for hanging around. Hope that you enjoyed this Radiant 132. We've got Stratosphere at our normal time this week, 5, whatever, I don't know what our normal time is. It's at 5 p.m. It's on Sunday, so it's the same time you would have been for Apple Orchard Cup if you're going to go there. Whatever you do and wherever you are, have a nice day. We'll be getting that raid out in just a moment. I thank you for stopping by, and we hope we'll be able to see you next time you're around.